Hi everybody, Beanmeister22 here. Hey, today we're going to look at something really cool. This is the Lego Technic motocross bike, set number 42007, 42007, ages 9 to 16, 253 pieces. It's a 2-in-1 set. You can build two separate motorcycles, and we will look at both of those motorcycles in today's video. Now, before we get started, I just want to tell you this. I have not been a fan of the Technic line. Yes, they have some really cool things out there, and yes, you can motorize them. And, I mean, there's some really cool sets out there. But I don't like these, I don't know what do you call them. They're not bricks, these tubes with holes in them. And I don't like the basic building materials of these Technic sets. I'm sorry. I've just never liked them in the past. And now that I've put my first one together, I'm starting to maybe change my mind on it. So if you haven't liked these sets in the past, it might be worth trying one out. It might change your mind. I know it changed my mind. Alright, now this is a 2-in-1 set, and like all 2-in-1 or 3-in-1 or even 75-in-1 sets, if it's a Lego set, you're going to have a main build, which is going to be the cool one, and then you're going to have minor or junior builds. So let's look at the minor, or not as good build first. And it's the Speedway Motorbike. It's one of those track motorcycles with a big one-cylinder thumping engine for riding the track. And it is pretty cool. It's not as cool as the motocross bike in this set, but it is pretty cool. And something else that's kind of neat here, the number plate on front of the motorcycle, it's either a 6 or a 9. Get it? Because you can turn the 6 upside down, it's a 9. So on the Speedway Motorbike, it's number 9. And then on your dirt bike, hey, you're number 6. I guess you could swap them around, but it was pretty clever. So they could get away with just having one number, and depending whether you turned it this direction or that direction, tells you what it is. It's kind of a neat little idea. Kind of clever. Alright, as I've already mentioned, I have not been a fan of this type of set in the past. The Technic sets just weren't my thing. And some of you die-hard Lego fans out there, I know you feel the same way because you've told me so. But this is worth the try. You might want to check it out if you haven't done it in a while, because this was really fun to put together. It went together really easy. Unlike some of the Lego sets where they use these same kind of, I wouldn't even call them bricks, same kind of pieces to pop together, where they don't fit in there all that well and they're kind of a pain. On this set, that it was nothing but those types of pieces, it was actually good. Things went together very well, and it's sturdy, and it's useful, and you can do a lot of things with these motorcycles. I'm very impressed with them. And as a really cool added bonus to this, you have the working motor with a piston that moves up and down, and you have the chain which drives the rear wheel, just like a real motorcycle or a real bicycle. It's pretty neat. And another thing I'd like to mention is that sometimes when you have some parts and sets, they look really good, but they're not very sturdy, or they're a pain to put together. That was not the case with this set. The chain, which is 39 teeny tiny pieces, went together really good, and so far it has not popped off, even though there's quite a bit of slack in the chain. It stays on really good, and it drives the gears and the rear wheel. I'm impressed with that. I've already told you I was impressed with how the pieces went together on this set. And for me to be impressed, that takes quite a bit. Another thing is the exhaust tube, the flex hose that comes with this. Normally in Lego sets and brick sets, when you have that flex hose, it's horrible. It doesn't want to bend around right. That Ghost Train set where you had the flex hoses on that airplane, it was horrible and they kept wanting to pop off. This fits together very well and it stays there and it looks good, and that in itself is impressive. Now specifically for this Speedway Motorbike, opposed to the motocross or dirt bike in this set, it's not, if you're not used to this kind of motorcycle, you're going to say, well, this looks kind of goofy. Well, it's a track bike. It's designed to look like this. The seat on this looks horrible, and maybe they should have put a padded seat on it. Well, there's not much padding on these seats in real life, so it is kind of realistic, and that's what makes the Speedway Motorbike not as cool as the motocross dirt bike, because it looks like what it is, a track bike, and it's not something you're going to want to ride around on the weekend with your buddies. It's not that kind of motorcycle, but it is pretty cool. Now, I've already mentioned the chain, which went together very well, and the gears, which run the motor, so the piston goes up and down. You can see the piston moving. It's kind of hard in this lighting to kind of get the camera and the light in there, but it is pretty impressive. This is a single-cylinder engine, which means you only have one piston in it. This motorcycle also has working front shocks. The suspension is pretty good. And the tires and the rims on this motorcycle are amazing. They are sturdy. They look good. They're pretty cool. I'm very impressed with the wheels that came with this. When I seen this on the shelf, I said, well, I don't know how this is going to be. But when I opened it up, I was very, very impressed with the wheels and the rims for this motorcycle. It's very cool. And if you're wondering how big this motorcycle is, check it out with this minifig standing next to it. As you can see, a minifig is not going to be riding this motorcycle. But I was kind of thinking, I don't have anything handy right now, but maybe the Katniss Everdeen Barbie doll would fit on this? Or the new big G.I. Joes? It looks about that size. Maybe in a later video we'll check it out and see how this is scaled to other toys. Because remember, it's important when you build a set, you want to be able to play with it. And if you're only limited to playing with other speed bikes and motorbikes of this style, it won't be as cool. But if you can get a rider on this bike, that'd be neat. Mix and match your toys. See how it works out. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. Alright, so that was the first build in this set. The junior build, the minor build, the low-level build, the not-so-cool build. Now let's look at the cool one, the main build of this set. And I am very impressed with it. Alright, so here it is, the main build in this set, the motocross bike, the dirt bike. It's really cool. It's number 6. Remember, the other bike was number 9. We're going to call this one number 6. This looks good, it's sturdy, it went together well, and it stayed together well. Yes, it's the same chain from the other motorcycle, so I only had to put the chain together once, and that's holding up pretty good. And as I mentioned already, the exhaust tubes, the exhaust flex hoses on this are amazing. They're actually working, they're staying together, they're not flimsy, they don't want to pop out, unlike in some of the other Lego sets I've put together. I'm very impressed with that. So if for no other reason to buy this set, it would be because everything they have on this set goes together well and it's staying put, unlike in some other Lego sets, which adds to the playability of this set. You can use it and it won't fall apart on you. This motorcycle has all the things of a realistic motorcycle. Well, it doesn't have a gas tank. Well, it kind of does. It's sort of in there, but you can just say it's the gas tank. It has a working front suspension. You have the gears which drive the rear wheel. You have a V-twin motor. There are 2 cylinders. You can watch the pistons go up and down. That's why there's no covers over the motor. In real life, there'd be a cover. You wouldn't get to see the piston going up and down because that's just not how a motor works. But on this, you can see it, and it looks pretty cool. It's kind of hard to see it, but both of these pistons are moving up and down. Amazing. And I already mentioned how cool the wheels and tires are for this motorcycle, but I am going to say it again. These knobby off-road dirt tires are amazing. They are cool. You could do a lot of things with this set. And as I already mentioned, we need to get G.I. Joe on this motorcycle and see how well he fits on it, because this bike has a lot of playability. Now, I know I mentioned this on the other motorcycle as not being something bad, but on this motorcycle, it's kind of something that's not as cool. This probably should have a seat on it. The other track bike really didn't need a seat because the way it's designed, you don't have much of a seat on those anyways. But your average dirt bike does have a seat. They should have put something in here that would make it look like a seat. It's fine. When G.I. Joe's riding it, it's not going to beat him up too much because without having a cushion seat, you got a suspension on this, be fine. But still, they should have put a motorcycle seat on this. It's not a big deal, but it would have added a little bit more to the realism of this set. Now, because of the style of this bike compared to the other bike, it's a little bigger than the other bike. It's a little taller. Now, here we are with a minifig standing next to it. And just like the other motorcycle, if a minifig wasn't going to be able to ride that one, you know darn well a minifig ain't going to be able to ride this one. This is a big bike, and I'm impressed. Alright, so now that we put this together, let's see it in action. Let's see how well this motorcycle does out there in the sand dunes. Wow, that's impressive. Alright, so what do you think? Today we look at the Lego Technic set 42007 motocross bike. Ages 9 to 16, 253 pieces. This is a cool set. It went together a lot easier than I thought it would be. I was kind of a little nervous about how it would go together. It went together awesome. I'll just tell you right now, I'm impressed. It went together awesomely. And furthermore, this kind of opened my eyes to the Technic line where I didn't like it in the past. I'm thinking I need to buy more of these sets. I've been eyeballing that big excavator. It looks pretty cool. So maybe I'll be getting one of those in the not too near future. Alright, so what do you think? Have you ever put together one of these Technic sets? Have you thought, they're not so cool? Or have you thought, well, they're okay, but it's just not your thing? I really want to know that, because that's how I felt, and my mind has been changed. So I'd really like to hear what you have to say on that topic. And also, what do you think? If you put this together, would you just put it on the shelf, or would you play with it, or would you try to use it? Would you see what you could zoom it up or down, or if G.I. Joe could ride it? Would you use this with anything else, or would you just put it together and then take it apart and throw it in a box? What would you do if you had this set? Because this set has a lot of playability. You can do a lot of things with it. All right, so if you can, answer those questions. Leave them down in the comments section. Ask any other questions you might want to ask. Leave some comments. Tell me about your set. Tell me your feelings on this. Tell me how you really feel. Tell me the truth, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Just like my reviews, I will tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly, and there wasn't much ugly about this set. There really wasn't, and that's rare for one of my reviews. Well, you guys already know that, right? So, like I said, leave your comments in the comments section, and as always, thanks for watching.
Beameister 22, the most dangerous man on YouTube.